Well, they can try, but it's going to take them a long time to come back. But if they do want to come back and they want to come back without a deal, then we're going to obliterate that one too. We can knock out their missiles very quickly. We have great power, and we helped Israel a lot. We were shooting down the drones. We were doing a lot of things for Israel. We did a good job for Israel. But Israel did a good job. They fought, and they all fought bravely. Look, it's a war. That's a vicious war. They're all vicious wars. When you write, hey, you covered a lot of wars, they're all vicious. We never saw a nice one, right?
Right.
They're all vicious. But that was a big fight. But the big thing was the knockout of the possible nuclear capability. And it was a complete knockout of nuclear capability. That doesn't mean that over the next 2 years or 3 years they're not going to come back or not going to try. I think they got hit so hard, they may talk about trying, but I don't think they want to.
A Wall Street Journal report has shocked the world, further nailing China's role in helping Tehran rearm after the 12-day war with Israel in June. Several hundred miles off the coast of Sri Lanka, a team from the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command boarded the ship and confiscated the cargo before letting the ship go. The covert mission took place after Pentagon had been tracking the shipment. The previously undisclosed raid was part of Washington's bid to block Iran's secret military procurement after the Israel and U.S. military decimated its nuclear and missile facilities during the recent conflict. According to the WSJ report, it was for the first time in recent years that the U.S. military intercepted a cargo with Chinese origins on its way to Iran. However, the name of the said vessel and the owner could not be determined. The United States had gathered intelligence suggesting the cargo was going to Iranian companies that specialize in procuring components for its missile program, an official said. The operation included both the special forces and conventional forces. The cargo comprised components potentially useful for Tehran's conventional weapons, an official said. The shipment was destroyed as the seized components were dual-use items with both civilian and military applications. The operation took place weeks before the American military seized a sanctioned oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. The oil tanker had been reportedly used to transport oil from Venezuela to Iran. The American military's rare confiscation comes amid the United Nations reimposed an international ban on Iran arms trades since late September. According to the WSJ report, Iranian officials said they were ramping up efforts to rebuild the country's ballistic missile arsenal, fearing a new confrontation with Israel.
I believe this is a disgraceful stain on the reputation of the designers and proponents of this resolution, because, as I previously stated, it not only contravenes the established regulations of the United Nations Security Council and the agency's prior practices, but also not even the slightest mention has been made of the true origin and root cause of this problem, which is the crime committed by the Zionist regime and America in their attack on Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities, the responsibility of the ceasefire supporters. As long as we remain members of the Non-Proliferation Treaty, we consider ourselves fully committed. The problem began when the United States and the Zionist regime sabotaged our efforts by attacking Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities. In the conventional process of cooperation between Iran and the agency, in fact, these parties should be held accountable. The problem we have with this resolution and similar actions by the 3 European countries and America is precisely that they ignore a very clear reality. They themselves should be held accountable. The agency, in fact, should hold the member states of the Board of Governors accountable, including the United States and the Zionist regime, as well as all those who support military terrorism for their actions against Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities, instead of continuously complaining about Iran's alleged lack of cooperation.
In recent years, the United States has seized several cargoes of weapons and oil belonging to Iran. In January last year, the U.S. Central Command confiscated Iranian-made ballistic missile and cruise missile components headed to Yemen's Houthis militants near the coast of Somalia. The U.S. also seized Iranian oil shipment in 2020 and 2023, alleging they were benefiting Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. In October, a CNN report citing European intelligence sources claimed that Iran had expedited the rebuilding of its ballistic missile program with the help of China. Several shipments of sodium perchlorate, the main precursor in the production of the solid propellant, key to Iran's mid-range conventional missiles, had arrived from China to the Iranian port of Bandar Abbas since the snapback sanctions reimposed by the UN in September. European intelligence sources claimed the shipments began arriving on September 29th and contained 2,000 tons of sodium perchlorate bought by Iran from Chinese suppliers in the wake of its 12-day conflict with Israel. The purchases are believed to be part of an effort to rebuild Tehran's depleted missile stocks. Several of the cargo ships and Chinese entities involved are under sanctions from the United States. The deliveries come after more than a decade-old UN sanctions were restored by the snapback mechanism, a provision for Iranian breaches of the 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action deal to monitor its nuclear program. Iran, reeling under sanctions, has been blocking an international inspection of its nuclear sites that Donald Trump claims were obliterated by the U.S. military's airstrikes in June.
Your own national security strategy does not say obliterated, sir. It says set them back. Your intro does.
Well, the Atomic Energy Commission said obliterated, and the people that have seen the site said obliterated, and frankly, Iran said it was obliterated. And to show you how accurate it was, and you know, I fight for the pilots because the pilots and those people went in there at great risk, and they hit every single target on every single bomb. And they did a lot of damage. And for them to be given anything less than 100% of the credit is unfair. So I will tell you, the Atomic Energy Commission said it's like gonzo. It's one person actually used the term obliterated. But Iran actually said that they probably can never go there again. They can probably never start there again. If they ever started, they'd probably choose a new site. But regardless, we took out the Iran nuclear site with great talent. No other country could have done that. No other country has weapons like we do, but no other country could have done that. We have the best weapons in the world. We have the best military in the world. And when we took out Iran, that allowed for peace. There's no way that, and I really have great respect for the King of Saudi Arabia, for the Emir. I'm friend with UAE. These are great people. These are actually great people and great leaders. There's no way they could have done a deal if Iran was not really nullified to a large extent. Iran is not the same country. Iran was a country that was feared by everybody. Now it's a country that's been very much downgraded. I'm sure they'll try and come back, and they're very capable people. Maybe they will, maybe they won't.